Law enforcement says the reign of terror from one of Cleveland's most significant gang threats is likely over.
Today, the U.S. Attorney's Office announcing more than a dozen alleged members of a prolific East Side gang were taken down. News 5's Catherine Ross explains the accusations in a federal indictment and the years-long effort to build a case against the fully blooded felons.
We have some breaking developments on a major crime bust right here in Cleveland. A violent gang has been brought down after a massive operation by local, state, and federal law enforcement.
Gabby Hart joins us from the neighborhood where it all started.
Yeah, we're talking RICO, racketeering charges that involve murder, sexual assault, kidnapping, and drug distribution. Authorities say it originated and happened right here in Cleveland's Cedar-Central neighborhood. They even say drugs were sold right here in this very vicinity like an open-air market. They also told us that the alleged kingpin of this gang called himself the Godfather.
In a press conference on Wednesday, the Department of Justice announced a major breakthrough. 18 individuals, members of the notorious Cleveland street gang known as the Fully Blooded Felons, have been charged with a litany of federal crimes. These include RICO conspiracy, murder in aid of racketeering, kidnapping in aid of racketeering, assault in aid of racketeering, firearms violations, conspiracy, and drug trafficking. This 2-year investigation has unveiled the dark underbelly of the Fully Blooded Felons, a gang that has operated with impunity since 2012. Based out of Cleveland's east side, their reach extends to Akron and Youngstown. 2 units in the Cleveland apartment complex served as their fortress, a hub for their illicit activities.
The Department of Justice says for more than a decade, a violent criminal enterprise has been terrorizing Northeast Ohio, infiltrating Ohio's prison system, and styling itself like a mafia crime family.
To enrich themselves, to preserve their power, their territory, their reputation, and their profits, they carried out their malicious actions.
From the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Northern District of Ohio Wednesday, several federal and local agencies announced what they say was the takedown of the Fully Blooded Felons. A superseding indictment is charging 18 alleged members and associates of the gang. That's on top of 3 others who have already pleaded guilty to similar charges.
This group committed a murder, armed robberies, and unlawfully imported and distributed fentanyl and other dangerous opioids throughout your community.
Law enforcement says the Fully Blooded Felons were essentially operating an open-air drug market here in the Cedar-Central neighborhood, and many of the tactics and organizational structure they were using are similar to things you would see in a movie.
This is certainly a huge blow to this because their leader, their godfather in his terms, has been charged and incarcerated.
Investigators say the self-proclaimed godfather operated out of apartments in the neighborhood with a mafia-style hierarchy and a strict code of silence. During the recent arrest, the FBI says it seized fentanyl powder, pills, and firearms from the apartments. It took 2 years of investigating by local and federal officers, along with legal counsel from DOJ headquarters.
This partnership between VCRS and the U.S. Attorney's Office here has already resulted in a safer Cleveland and a safer Ohio.
The defendants face numerous charges, including RICO, which targets organized crime and carries the possibility of severe sentencing. If convicted, each sentence will be reviewed individually. The partners here hope their operation sends a message to other criminal operations.
Whether a fully blooded felon or another gang, members who have yet to be caught should think twice before continuing to engage in such violent, illegal, and disruptive behavior.
Inside these walls, investigators seized a veritable arsenal of drugs, including cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl, and 15 illegal guns. Their operation was bold, almost cinematic, turning Cleveland's Cedar-Central neighborhood into an open-air drug market. Trafficking fentanyl right outside these everyday locations, they built an empire that thrived on fear and violence. Their hierarchy and tactics were straight out of a Hollywood movie about organized crime, meticulously planned and ruthlessly executed. Justice has a long memory, and for the Fully Blooded Felons, Their time has run out.
18 members of the Fully Blooded Felons gang indicted.
Active in Northeast Ohio for over a decade and had a significant presence in Cleveland, particularly in the Cedar-Central neighborhood.
The gang started as a branch of another gang known as the Heartless Felons. Authorities say they've been flooding our streets with fentanyl, meth, and other deadly drugs. And that's not all.
The Fully Blooded Felons resorted to the worst kinds of violent acts, including murder, kidnapping, assault, and robbery.
Leading this reign of terror, the alleged kingpin, Raven Mullins, who officials say referred to himself as the Godfather. He allegedly established a strict hierarchy within the gang, complete with rules, fines, and brutal punishments for anyone who disobeyed.
FBF held meetings to discuss gang business and were required to abide by Amaretta, meaning a code of silence.
The criminal enterprise even extended into the Ohio prison system, where they attempted to smuggle
drug-soaked paper and other contraband,
stash houses, torture, guns, and drugs. This organized crime ring has been operating right under our noses. It sounds like something straight out of a movie.
They were modeling themselves and using the kind of terms, as you put it, that you would see in a movie or have seen in movies, and certainly that are associated with criminal syndicate and crime families historically.
But just like in those movies, their empire has come crashing down. RICO laws let prosecutors go after the whole gang, including the leaders, even for crimes that they didn't personally commit, facing decades, if not life, in prison.
These telephone calls, text messages, and social media.
And again, this was a 2-year comprehensive investigation that included multiple agencies. We're talking state, federal, and local level. Authorities sending a clear message. They are watching and they are working to keep the streets of Northeast Ohio safe. In Cleveland, I'm Gabby Hart, 19 News.
In order to truly understand how dangerous this Cleveland-based gang is, we have to go back to its origins and bloody history. This isn't a scene from a movie. Everything that you're about to see is 100% facts, and these events are documented. We have to learn about the Heartless Felons, which evolved into the Fully Blooded Felons.
I just want somebody to speak up, please. It's not right. I can still see the blood. I can still feel see the smoke coming out his chest.
Attorney Nate Ballard on behalf of Mr. Shine. Your Honor, we have the indictment for over 24 hours. You believe we're reading the statement of pleading not guilty. That's for reasonable mind.
Court accepts a not guilty plea. Bond is set $5 million, cash, surety, property. There's an order of no contact with the victim. Sir, you understand your friends, your family members, yourself, you may not have any contact with the alleged victim's family?
Yes, sir.
All right. Case is assigned to the docket of Judge Joan Sinnenberg. First pretrial, March 4th, 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
He's accused of killing 3 people at a Warrensville Heights barbershop. Now, someone is targeting his family's home. I'm Michael Baldwin. I'll have that story coming up.
We're taking it to Cleveland, Ohio for this one. Today, we're going to talk about the most heartless, the most treacherous, and the most brutal gang that ever walked the grimy streets of Cleveland. HF for short, Heartless Felons to be exact. This Cleveland gang has been said to be more brutal than the mob from the 1970s and 80s. The Heartless Felons is a Cleveland gang whose brutality is said to rival the mob's violence in the city during the 1970s and 80s. We're going to take a look at the rules, the leadership, and some of the many key leaders of the HF gang. Julius Webster was convicted February 9th of murder, 2 counts of aggravated robbery, and gang-related charges. The 3-week trial offered a window into the Heartless Felons.
The man known as the leader of the Heartless Felons learns how much time he'll spend behind bars. Julius Webster was sentenced today. News Channel 5's Mike Brookbank is in our newsroom with new developments from court.
This afternoon, a Cuyahoga County judge sentenced Julius Webster to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 99 years. Last month, the jury convicted Webster of murdering Curtis Marks outside a Cleveland bar back in August 2013. The 29-year-old has been in and out of prison for the past decade and was convicted in a separate case for his leadership role in the Heartless Felons gang. Before being sentenced, Curtis Mark's family had a chance to address the court and the man responsible for killing their loved one. The judge had some words for Webster as well after handing down the sentence, saying Webster needs to be removed from society.
And appears to be of the position that he, along with other members of the Heartless Felons, are above the law, or that the law for some reason does not apply to him or to them.
When asked if he wanted to talk, Webster simply said, "I'm fine." Webster's lawyers have asked for a new trial, claiming the extra security tainted the jury's view of him.
Antonio, quote-unquote, Lapone Peterson is the godfather of the Heartless Felons. Peterson, 31, pleaded guilty to charges of aggravated robbery and possessing a gun while a convicted felon November 8, 2007. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison. The charges stemmed from a violent carjacking. He had a long juvenile record and became the driving force behind the Heartless Felons while in an Ohio youth facility. Records and interviews show he has been involved in a number of gang-related incidents that began soon after he went to prison. LA stands for Longwood Avenue, where he and other members grew up. Howard, quote-unquote, Howie T. Lawrence is an original founder and top leader. A county jury convicted Lawrence, 27, in August 2013 of aggravated robbery and felonious assault in a shooting at a dice game. Records show Lawrence wanted to rob a man during the game. He asked his friend and fellow Heartless felon, D'Angelo Chandler, for a gun. When Lawrence started firing, he accidentally shot and killed Chandler. He was sentenced to 21 years in prison. Julius, quote-unquote, Hook Webster is an original member who controlled the Canton, Ashtabula, and parts of Cleveland for the gang. A Cuyahoga County jury convicted Webster, 29, of murder and 2 counts of aggravated robbery February 9th. In a separate proceeding, the judge found him guilty of gang-related charges. He was sentenced to life in prison with the first chance of parole in 99 years. He was convicted in the slaying of Curtis Marks Jr. on August 29, 2013, as well as a robbery of a convenience store. Testimony in his trial revealed Webster served as a gang recruiter. HF really is like a mob or mafia in the Cleveland streets. They have steppers and straight hitters, no matter what county they're from.
Ferguson, a member of Cleveland's Heartless Felons gang, sentenced to 3 years in prison. This after he was just sentenced yesterday to 36 months in jail on federal charges. Ferguson pleaded guilty to intimidation and retaliation. He was charged for threatening a Cleveland gang unit detective after running into him in a public place.
There are many HF members locked up, and a lot of them are serving major time, mainly for murders. One notable case is with Marvella Sullivan, who was a CEO for the Cuyahoga Department of Corrections, and she got into major trouble for helping HF members distribute drugs while locked up. This is the perfect example of how powerful HF really is, whether on or off the streets.
Well, these indictments are part of an ongoing investigation of the Cuyahoga County Jail by the Ohio Attorney General's Office. Now, according to this indictment, this county jail drug operation ran for about 2.5 years, from January of 2017 up until just last month. Corrections officers Stephen Thomas and Marvella Sullivan are accused of delivering fentanyl, heroin, and marijuana to inmate Lamar Spates and other inmates inside the Cuyahoga County Jail. Spates, also known as Bud, a member of the Heartless Felons street gang. He was eventually sentenced to 13 to 17 years in prison for an ATM smash and grab ring. Now, this indictment alleges that while Spates was an inmate, he directed the smuggling activities of Sullivan. The inmate would have friends or relatives outside of jail pay her in cash, gifts, or Cash App wire transfer. In one instance, the indictment alleges that Stephen Thomas accepted $1,500 in cash from a different inmate to smuggle a cell phone and vape pens into the jail. As a member of the special response team, Thomas is also accused of warning that inmate of a planned shakedown of his cell. Now, both Thomas and Sullivan, they resigned from the jail earlier this year once this investigation came to light. The indictment also includes 14 more people who prosecutors say were part of this drug ring. Most of them are named only as John or Jane Doe. They include 5 more corrections officers, 7 inmates, and 2 are either friends or relatives of someone involved. And another instance here, Tracy and Lou, that Thomas was apparently involved in giving an inmate heroin. That inmate OD'd on that heroin and was taken to the hospital as a result of that.
Serious allegations here, and we know you will have more tonight at 10 o'clock. Kevin, thank you.
Ohio police were investigating why 3 men were killed in the shooting at a suburban Cleveland barbershop, a city official said. The 3 men were shot at the Chalk Lines Barbershop in Warrensville Heights, a suburb about 16 miles east of Cleveland.
My husband just got shot. Somebody just opened fire.
And Josh is live right now in Warrensville Heights with what we just learned about the victims.
Good morning to you. This is here at the Chalk Lines Barbershop on Harvard Road in Warrensville Heights this morning. I can tell you that 3 people are dead, 2 injured in this shooting that happened last night. We now know the names of the 3 people that were killed. Walter Lee Barfield, 23, from Cleveland. William Gonzalez, 32, from Garfield Heights. And Brandon White, 31 years old, from Warrensville Heights. You can see that investigators remain on the scene this morning. They've been out here since last night around 8:30 when they first got a call of shots fired. They secured the area. Presumably, family and friends of the victims went across the street here, which is where South Point Hospital is. Those family and friends looking for answers, telling me they want whoever is responsible for this to come forward. Still a lot of questions here, though. The motive behind this, and if police know who is responsible. Guys, back into you.
Josh, thanks so much for that.
The victims were identified as Brandon White, 31, William Gonzalez, 32, and Walter Lee Barfield, 23, according to the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office. Warrensville Heights Police and other agencies assisting in the investigation, which included the Cleveland Police Department, had no immediate comment.
Brand new details just released about a deadly shooting inside a barbershop. 3 people shot to death, including the owner. 3 other victims in the hospital tonight.
We have live team coverage from Warrensville Heights, where police just updated their search for the shooter. And we begin with Joe Paganakis. Joe, what do we know tonight?
Well, Warrensville Heights police finished their news conference just about a half hour ago. They do have some critical leads in this case. However, they are asking for more information from the public as soon as possible. During the news conference, they wouldn't give a description of the suspect. They did say, however, they will have that description available sometime later tonight. They are receiving and reviewing surveillance video from multiple video cameras from businesses near and around the Chalk Lines Barbershop. They are receiving assistance from Cleveland, Shaker Heights, Bedford Heights police departments, and the U.S. Marshals. 31-year-old Brandon White, 23-year-old Walter Barfield, and the barbershop owner, 32-year-old William Gonzalez, all killed at the scene. Walter Barfield's mother spoke to the media about her loss.
Life is not promised, and cherish the moments that you have.
Really difficult because our community does not go through incidents like this. So with this, I am glad that we have the support that we have through the other agencies that's reaching out to help us with this. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to bring somebody to justice.
3 others injured by the gunfire in that shooting, now listed in stable condition. Anyone with information about this case should contact the Warrensville Heights Police Department at 216-581-1234. Reporting live from Warrensville Heights, I'm troubleshooter Joe Paganakis.
Autopsies will be performed on Friday, said Christopher Harris, a spokesman for the medical examiner's office. No motives have been given for the shooting, and Goins would not commit on a possible suspect or suspects. A press conference by police officials is scheduled for 4:30 p.m. local time in Warrensville Heights. Police confirmed that Douglas Charles Shine Jr., also known as Duke or Lil Duke, is a suspect in question, and police are searching for him. At the press conference, police said they believe Shine was only targeting one person, and the other people killed and injured were not intended to be harmed. 3 people were killed and 3 were injured in the shooting.
Judge, this is number 16 on the docket. The charge is felonious assault. Counselor, your name for the record.
Attorney Nate Malik on behalf of Douglas Shine. We're going to plead not guilty. Ask for a preliminary hearing. It has to be heard from
Which date?
The 20, right? The 24th, work for you?
Yeah.
224.
February 24th, 2015.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Shine is 20 years old. He lives in Cleveland. He does have family here. Does have an APA hold that asks for reasonable bond to settle this matter.
Good morning, Your Honor. Brian Murphy, Assistant Prosecutor here in Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. For the record, in this matter, Mr. Shine is charged with shooting an individual, 23 years old, outside his residence, irrespective of whatever could be pending against Mr. Shine. Obviously, he has been identified as a suspect in a multiple homicide in Warrensville. Irrespective of that case is under investigation. The criminal record shows that he just left prison on December 22nd of last year. Within a month, by January 20th, he had shot this individual multiple times. His priors for aggravated burglary, robbery, gun charges. We are asking for a high bond of at least $500,000 cash surety in this case.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
One of the victims that died in the barbershop shooting had a brother who was a witness. He was also targeted Mafia style and fatally gunned down sitting inside his car in his grandmother's driveway. 2 people have been indicted for the murder of a witness to the triple homicide at a Warrensville Heights barbershop last February. Douglas Shine and Kevin McKinney were both indicted this week on numerous charges, including aggravated murder, aggravated burglary, and attempted aggravated murder.
This is Leon Bibb beginning the broadcast with breaking news from Warrensville Heights and a murder there, and it is believed the victim has a connection to another local murder. News Channel 5's Kristen Volk is live in Warrensville Heights with the breaking news details.
Leon, family tells me that murder victim is the key witness in the Chalk Lines barbershop shooting, which happened just down the block here on Harvard Avenue, literally half a mile from here, if that. One of the victims in that triple homicide, which happened in February at the barbershop, is Brandon White Ladson. Now, he is the brother to today's victim, Aaron Ladson. Here is a photo of that man. It was provided by family. He is 32 years old, we're told, a father of 4. Very hardworking, church-going family man. That's what the mother told us. Now, the mother also told us that Aaron was outside the barbershop when the shooting happened back in... and he was there just to get his hair cut that night. Ladson's mother, we spoke to her. She obviously is very upset, and this mother has now lost 2 sons in 5 months.
I just buried my other son February the 5th. It's just June. It's just June.
This is still a very active crime scene. We're told the incident happened just after 8 o'clock this morning, but as you can see, we have crime scene units here. We have plenty of people gathering, wanting more information. This incident happened at this house right over here in the driveway. Ladson was putting his daughter into the car, we're told, when he was shot in the head. We are waiting for more information, really any information from police. They have not spoken to us yet. Leon, back to you.
Many thanks for your report, Kristen. We'll be following this story, of course, that crime scene really right down the street from the crime scene of earlier this year. Thank you for your report.
Shine is currently in jail awaiting trial for the murders of Walter Lee Barfield, Brandon White, and William Gonzalez at Chalk Lines Barbershop last year. According to court documents, after he was arrested for murder, Shine worked with McKinney to orchestrate the killing of one of the witnesses in a barbershop shooting, 32-year-old Aaron Ladson, also known as Pudge. Ladson was shot in the head in the driveway of his grandmother's house in June 2015, months after his brother, Brandon White, was gunned down in the barbershop. Court documents state Shine hired McKinney to orchestrate the killing of Ladson after identifying him as a witness last April. Then, after the murder, Shine allegedly coordinated with McKinney to hide the evidence. All right, y'all, so there y'all have it, man. That's the story of Lil Duke and the Heartless Felons from the land, from 2 on 6. Hey, man, get in that comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers. Like I said, we out here trapping and drilling. Let's get it, gang. Hey, don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Gang!